Not to decide is to decide, and if you fail to go within, you will go without. So the goal for today is to disappear and go ghost, embrace the dark, and duck into the shadows, a relatively popular desire that allows for the potential of your highest self. Why? And the seven easy steps of how, you might be asking. Let us commence with the why, as it's really simple. This is your cross to bear. Do you want a reality that has been built for you or built by you? Sheep or shepherd? The strongest distraction we have to avoiding our highest choice of life can be summed up as the following. We all love ourselves more than other people, but care more about their opinions than our own. This is social conscious programming. And with that, the why is because only you can. And you are here because you know this in your soul, and now it's time to get comfortable with that. That is the why. The how. Step one. Identifying what you currently represent. In short, life is nothing more than an operational process, and you need to understand your strengths and weaknesses. The action being going through a writing exercise of segmenting your life into high-level categories, sort of like a graph or chart, and subsequently grading yourself on a scale accordingly. This is important for your mind and your brain. This will give you a baseline from which to measure with and provide some detail as to what you currently represent. And most importantly, provide clarity on where you need to begin working. Now you might be asking, what are some of the optimal categories to make this make sense? Family, money, relationships, physical fitness, knowledge. For me, but this is of course your choice because some people get all uncomfortable about this one, is spirituality. But let me reemphasize the action again and a bit more explicitly. It is to subjectively write these categories down now that you have them. Feel free to include whatever might apply, and give yourself a grade, a scale, 1 to 10 on each of these. Where do you rank? With this now written down and visualized for your mind to see and process, you can now pinpoint and highlight your lowest ratings, make it simple, and attack these as goals or immediate targets. I think of importance and a brief note. Family and relationships, don't start there. Reason being, you have less control over those because they involve other people. And also, if you get better, your relationships will thrive by default. Do the math. Step 2. Silence is substance. So shut your mouth. Talking does 3 things that prevent darkness and moving forward. Firstly, speaking creates the reality you see for yourself, and continuing to run your mouth about it for what it is and isn't will only produce more of the same. Secondly, we tend to speak to impress, but doing so creates massive internal conflict. Let's be real. Speaking to impress is lying to yourself, and that creates distance between fact and fiction, true and false, light and dark. Third, speaking implies completion to your conscious mind, and if it's perceived to be completed, what is there left to do? How about a little more for effect? Here's an apparent quote from Jesus Christ. You might have heard of him. Hear and understand, not what goes into the mouth that defiles a man, but what comes out of the mouth that defiles a man. So shut your mouth. Silence is substance. Step 3. Create a darkness environment. You need to get to work, and therefore you need a physically functional dark environment that will foster growth and success. A physically functional dark environment should at least be two things: distractionless and frictionless. Now, what might a distraction and frictionless environment look like? Maybe not so obviously obvious. Phones and electronics that don't contribute to the cause, silenced and altogether removed if possible. Meaning put your phone somewhere else, out of sight, out of mind. If you're on a PC like me to work on, ensure notifications are silenced of importance. There should be no unnecessary noise, and if it's not doable, put on a pair of noise canceling headphones. Silence. Frictionless. Those are purposeful environments, meaning clean, and don't include unnecessary clutter, as that will stir chaos in your mind. It should also be the same space every time, as familiarity will allow you to get quicker into deep work mode. More on that later. Purpose and point. Create a space that is intended for the sole purpose of working on yourself with nothing in the way. Distractionless and frictionless. Numero cuatro, Spanish lesson today. Step 4, when and how long comes down to, for me, win the mornings. Now that you know what you represent, adopted silence by shutting your mouth, and created a dark place in which to thrive, the next natural progression is, when does the fun begin? Now, there are numerous neurological and scientific benefits to waking up early and beating the sun, which is my ultimate recommendation. It's what I do. But let's keep it as simple as possible, understanding that those brain benefits are certainly tangible and forthcoming. Here's the truth to reality. If you are occupied with a 9-to-5, school, or other natural real life priorities, attempting to dominate the evenings will likely be futile. You've already gone through a lot of your day, and now distractions are aplenty, whether it be family and social, drinking, gaming, sports, and all other guilty pleasures. These are easily acceptable and prevalently available. And in all likelihood, let's be honest, at this point, you're just flat out tired from the day. Therefore, I traded in the darkness of the evening for the darkness of the day. 1,000+ days, I've been waking up at 4 a.m. It gets easier, although sometimes it's still hard. For you, maybe it's 5, no later than 6, but dominating the day is inclusive of the already, albeit briefly mentioned, brain benefits, but of equal importance. Here is a simple math and truth to this. If you start your day doing what you said you would do, which is chasing a goal that is specific to you, that makes you feel better about being you, then you begin each day with gratitude and peace. That is momentum, which then carries into the rest of the day. And could you see now how this becomes a spark for the rest of your life commitments you're already accomplished? You can also mentally relax throughout the rest of the day, knowing you've already made self-progress towards your higher self, thereby eliminating the battle that is in the mind of should I or shouldn't I that comes later in the day. So win the mornings. And here's a maybe not so subliminal obvious nugget. Same time every time limits the friction on your brain. Pick a time, wake up, same time every day. Step 5, cinco. How long? Going dark is essentially deep work, and the science of deep work suggests anything above 4 hours actually diminishes our brain's ability to sustain focus. No bueno. With that in mind, start small and then scale. Focused deep work can have immediate benefits in as little as 15 minutes a day. For fear of making the short story long, just use logical context. The extreme is 4 hours. The minimum is 15 minutes. Start small and incrementally build. Think of this like any other sort of stamina routine. Crawl, walk, run, sprint. 2 things I do to assist that you might want to consider. 1, set a timer. 2, create a log of how much deep work you're doing day by day and tally it up. And once again, with the maybe not so obvious nugget, same time, every time will limit the friction on your brain. Not quite subliminal, huh? Step 6, SACE, re-present yourself. I can't tell you how long or when, but at some point you will want to intentionally come out of the dark and into the light. And I believe if done right, this will be less about subjecting yourself to the social conscious judgment pool of non-realized humans, don't get all offended, and more to feel the effects of your work on your world. We all want and deserve rewards. It's why we're putting in the work. Ultimately, we began with what we currently represent ourselves as. The significance being we knew we wanted a different representation of our reality. Of equal importance then, emerging from the dark and coming into the light, as I said, is to represent yourself to the world. Represent, dash in between, represent. This is supremely important for you and your soul, because as is universal law, the work you have committed to for self and your reality for self will now represent itself back to you, meaning the manifestation, attraction, magnetic pull of your desires will now begin to be returned to you in the same way it was when you started this journey. Representing yourself is basically taking your new self out for a spin. Accept your rewards. Step 7. Perfection is the process. I believe that going dark is a never-ending lifestyle and cycle. Each iteration of yourself, because you'll want to keep growing, will require you to re-enter and re-emerge accordingly. How this starts is never how it is going to end. You can always be better. Therefore, put forth focused attention to the process. As mentioned, it is intended to be iterative. Now, keep the high-level requirements, the structure and the bones, if you would, fairly consistent, but be prepared to make adjustments along the way. In short, every macro has a micro. Zoom in, zoom out. Learn to trust your intuition and instincts. It's there for your benefit. Disappearing, or more importantly, embracing the dark, is the prerequisite for all growth. And I'll tell you what a friend once reminded me of. It is in the dark where the seed is planted and the roots are formed before the flower or tree blossoms. In the dark, where the sperm meets the egg, a caterpillar goes into a cocoon before emerging as a butterfly. Back to your reality. You are in a reality. And as George M. Moore so eloquently said, reality can destroy the dream. Why shouldn't the dream destroy reality? A winner is just a loser who tried one more time. Now, I remind you, not to decide is to decide. And if you fail to go within, you will go without. Do you really want a reality that was built for you? Or would you rather it be built by you? Your choice. Change your mind, change your life. I am who I say I am. Stay rich.